Check to see if LinkedIn or YouTube's working. YouTube.cantoncoders.org should do it. Now, there won't be any audio because we're on mute. I intentionally put us on mute. Yeah. Yeah, I see us coming out somewhere. We're hitting the rebroadcaster, so we're good. Hey, Nathan Carver. Nick, your background is very intimidating, and you're not even in it. Oh, we're getting rebroadcast somehow. So hands on your head. Someone say something on Zoom. All right, got to make it so you're not clipping. So people are probably wondering, we're going to record this for posterity, but we're probably going to cut this. So say something now.
Say something now.
Awesome. I think I'm on, you're on, everyone on. So I'm going to adjust my volume up just a little bit more so we're clipping at the same point. So this is formally get going. I made someone here a co-host. All right, so welcome to Canton Coders. We are live on the internet. If you would not like to be live on the internet, there are 2 simple rules to follow. Turn off your camera and then put yourself on mute, and you won't be on the what do they call this thing? The internet. So Scott's okay being on the internet, right, Scott? But he's on mute. Classic.
Yeah, I'm all right.
And co-host Nate has disappeared, so we'll get this going. So welcome to Canton Coders. We are a meetup that has only met on the internet. There's a long story on cantoncoders.org about how this happened. Had a lot to do with COVID, but we're glad you're here. Everything we do is free because we care about you and not your employer. We have a topic tonight called test-driven development in data structures because there's a lot of people going through technical interviews, and data structures are scary, aren't they, Nate?
They are. They intimidate me.
Why do they intimidate you, Nate?
Because I don't use complex data structures in my day job.
What do you mean? You just store data in a database and pull it back out and put it on the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something you write once and then you go on to do other things in the application.
Yeah. And then the only time you get asked about data structures is?
In your interview.
All right. So like every good developer out there, by the way, Nate, are you a senior level developer? Would you consider yourself a senior level developer?
Sure.
Yeah, so would I. So as we get started, let's frame up what data structures are by looking on Google. Brilliant. Am I right? The peanut gallery can pipe in here. I see Nick's like hanging to say something. So basically, a data structure is a way to organize your data that enables efficient access and modification. So a good example I have for a data structure is a class with data in it. What do you think, Nathan? Is that a good example for you?
That's a good example.
So to show what we're doing with this, we're going to do a coding kata. So I'm going to go ahead and read this into the record like it's a court case, but feel free to join us on this link up here, and we're going to do continuous delivery and test-driven development in data structures. So this code will update as we go along tonight. We'll probably go about an hour or until Nathan gets tired of me. So between 5 minutes to an hour.
Something like that.
And we'll code. So Canton Coders test-driven development with data structures and algorithms. I forgot to add that in. So the main thing we're going to do is we're going to build this software. It's called a coder relationship management software. We're going to use the acronym CRM. It's probably been never used before. Nick?
Yeah, I think it's free.
Yeah, I think that's booked. I think CRM's good. We should probably coin it. I don't think anyone disagree. And the rule is we build one thing at a time. Is that okay with you, Nathan?
Let's do it.
And the peanut gallery can pipe in at any time, as long as you're okay with being on the internet. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to going on this, and I'm sharing my screen, and Nate and I are going to strong pair this out, but interrupt us and hit questions. So Nate, seeing that we're operating on one screen, I should probably, oh, that's a PowerPoint. I should probably go back and like pull the rules ahead and put them in a comment here. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, let's do it.
So,
hey, Joel, quick question.
yep.
What's the policy on multitasking here in this group?
What do you mean by multitasking?
Like, can I be off on another screen and, you won't be unhappy about that?
No, this is a meetup, dude. This is not work. We don't care about that. As long as you remain perfectly, appropriate for the internet. Well, we don't say that. You're better than the internet expects. We're happy to have you here.
I actually forgot something. The employer's not here, Joel, so I forgot about that.
Well, Camille's here, so she can pretend to be your employer. Camille will shake her finger at you if you'd like.
Hi, Camille. I haven't seen you for a while. How you going?
Hi there. No, I haven't seen anybody because I have meetings at noon on Wednesdays.
So, but we are
You've
live.
been meeting.
Yeah, we are live on the internet, so make sure you don't break your NDA. But we're gonna get going on this first test here. Test-driven development is pretty simple. You write a test, make it pass, and we'll demonstrate what that does. So Nate, will you tell me what to do? I will be the driver, and you want to be the navigator?
Yeah, let's do that. Let me pull up our, there we are. So what's the first thing we're going to do? Oh, and Peanut Gallery, anyone drop your questions in the chat, drop your suggestions, and just speak up. We can mob on this as well. So, all right. So what do we have first? Store the first name and email address of each coder to be retrieved later.
So I'm going to pull this down into a comment so we don't have to keep scrolling. I don't want to see vomit on people's keyboards. So what do you want me to do? I got a test here that validates that Spring is working. Do you believe me? I just ran it again.
Yeah, I believe you.
I'm going to turn on auto test because I have 12 threads, and that's just cool. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. What's the first thing you want? What's the first test we want to do? Do we want to ping pong it, or what do we want to do?
Nah, let's just roll. Let's do mob session. Let's let other people get involved.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's write a test that drops a name somewhere and retrieves it.
Okay. So string first name equals Nick. Like it.
I like it.
And then what's the test? Assert equals assert.
Yeah.
I have
Assert
fluid
equals-
asserts in here.
Assert that. Okay.
All right. That
So assert that. What are we gonna let's say get first name.
we probably need an object. What do you think? You good with that?
I'm good with that. Let's do it. Coder get first name.
Okay. I'm gonna run the test.
Assert that coder get first name dot equals to. Is that what your library is?
I think so, but I don't know if it's gonna.
Is equal.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna pick it up since we have compilation errors.
All right. Well, let's fix that.
Well, let's run the test to prove to people we know how to do this. Now look, we have a compilation error. So what I'm gonna do is hit Alt-Enter. I'm gonna let the IDE write the code for me. So create class. I'm gonna add it to Git. Yep. I'm gonna go back. Okay. And I'm gonna do
Compilation error. Go ahead and
create property. I'm gonna let the IDE write the code for me. It's saying what am I? And it's a string. Yep. Look how nice the code is for writing this for me. I'm gonna hit Alt-Enter again. It's gonna write the code for me. Camille, remember when you had to do this on punch cards?
It was Fortran back when I was doing it on punch cards.
Was it this easy?
No,
That was paper
Probably
tape.
She's probably faster than
I
me.
guess I've used paper tape as well. Thing is, paper tape
Yeah,
tears.
yeah for
Is it-
5-bit binary code.
All right, so I got first name equals Nick. Let's run the test. It's not gonna pass. Do we know why it's not going to pass, Nate? Oh, it passed.
Because you broke it.
What did I do? Hang on.
Let's go look at your implementation.
I think someone's got something on in the background. So I know why I broke it. We're going quick here. Is coder.set first name? First name. Guess what? We forgot to do that.
Yeah, it shouldn't be passing though. Why is it passing?
It's not. I'm not looking at the right window.
Oh, okay.
There it is. See, it's failing.
All right.
So let's run all the tests again. Awesome. Test pass. What do I do now, Nate?
Celebrate.
Really? Celebrate? The test name's X. At 2 a.m. when I've had 4 of these.
Incremental.
I'm not going to be able to make the good.
Proportional.
How about a better name for the test?
What's the good name for the test, Camille?
Oh, what are you?
Why?
Set coder properties.
Okay,
What is it? First name, get set.
okay.
Good with that?
Oof, we're testing getters and setters. We're gonna be here a while.
Well, it
That's
didn't
good.
start. Can always get a better name later, but
Okay.
it's definitely an improvement over X.
All right. And then
Yeah.
what
Run the test again. You just changed something.
I just run the test. And let's be honest, now that we have a micro test passing, what would good continuous delivery developers do?
Check it in.
That's
Go to
right.
lunch.
And we're gonna do it from the ID.
Why?
What?
Sell it.
Ship it. Tell the script.
Ship
Do we
it.
get all the points?
I don't think there's enough to ship.
I don't know. Can we call the Scrum Master and see if we get credit for the points? Oh my goodness, what's going on here? Is anyone else seeing this?
That's
Yeah,
pretty tricky. Yeah.
That's wild.
that's really weird looking.
Yeah. Welcome to this isn't employment related. Can someone go check to see? Oh,
STTY sane.
Use IntelliJ to commit it.
do you think IntelliJ will commit it?
Updates were rejected.
Let's
Huh?
see.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, but we're not real developers if we use the IDE. Are we?
It really supposed to be spelt with a Z at the end of that?
Probably not.
Looked funny.
So I'm gonna.
I think you already committed your changes.
I don't know. Let's check here.
Yes, you are committed. Need to push.
Yeah.
Show the seam.
I'm gonna push here. Build to push from refs. Oh, it contains work I do not. Good old fashioned good git pull. And we're gonna run these tests again. Give it access. All right, our test all pass. And then from the command line, because things are being silly, git push. All right, did our CI pipeline kick off? It should have. But should we keep going?
How do you tell?
It's on the GitHub, Canton Coders GitHub.
Okay.
So we good with this? Moving on to the next thing?
Move on.
All right, email. What's the test?
Test email get set.
Yoda, are you out there?
Do you really like test as a name of a test?
Seems kind of redundant.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wouldn't it-
That's from the Department of Redundancy Department.
especially with annotation.
Again,
something like a expect. I mean, it.
you just guys, you tell me what I'm supposed to do. I'm here. I'm paid by the key stroke.
Are you?
Yeah, and by the misspelling.
typing
Wow.
speed.
Coder doesn't have 2 E's in it.
It does, and you have creative spelling. It's 2022.
Well,
Camille.
Oh dear.
Codier.
if I can notice it's spelled badly, there's something really bad in this spell.
Coding with a peanut gallery is a lot more fun. I'm just gonna say that.
welcome to mobbing.
Get email, right, is equal to email,
So
right?
now that we have getters and setters, are we going to make our object immutable?
I don't know. What does that mean? I'm gonna right click
No
and
setters.
I'm
No
gonna-
setters.
No, set.
Instructor.
I don't know. What are we doing
Alright.
now?
So let's not test another getter setter. Let's create something that, let's create a test of what, save or store user, store coder.
We're done with our first requirement, by the way,
So where are we storing our user?
in memory.
In memory.
Okay.
Yeah.
In-memory database or just
We haven't
what?
gotten that far.
Haven't got
What are you, a big
What's the
front
next
up? Are
requirement?
you, Camille?
No, I'm just wondering what you're thinking here.
The rule is for this kata is the first thing we do is store the first name and email of each coder to be retrieved later.
Okay.
Hey, I like the idea of
Store.
Hey, what's the next requirement?
hey guys, I don't know if the idea of normalizing our test names.
Look,
Something
architecture's here.
we just glossed over.
Architecture's here.
Hello guys, architecture's here.
Yeah, so I
What are
agree
we
with
doing?
that. We need better names.
Okay,
What-
what are the better names?
Well,
Well,
next,
like that redundancy around test underscore, I think that was a good comment. I agree. I think it's redundant.
So I'm gonna click refactor rename for people that are new to Java. I'm gonna let the chief architect send me a PowerPoint with naming conventions.
Sorry, I just need to get into my ivory tower right now. So
Yeah. Let him climb up.
Maybe Camille and PMO can give you a timeline to get things done quicker.
All right.
Ken,
Let's
Let's set a
get
meeting
first
for
name.
next Monday.
Naming can take a while. Let's go start a new test.
What are we testing?
that's true. That's true. I think that, sending it up to PMO is just causing a lot of delay here. So let's just keep going.
Our biggest constraint is we can't name anything.
All right. So what's the next test?
you've
Let's
gotta
see.
be-
Can persist coder.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Okay.
test can persist. Okay.
All righty.
What are we doing here?
Let's create a new coder, but let's make the start towards the immutability, right? So
You could also start with the assert. That could drive whatever you're doing.
yeah, I like that.
All right. What are we
Yeah.
asserting?
Delete that code. There you go.
Assert that
Insert
what?
that. Let's call it data store dot get coder by name. Pass in the first name. And we should get an object back. There,
Okay.
we're doing something.
Okay. And then we should get like an object back. So is not null. Like, what is the test?
Is equal to. Let's just inline this massive statement, then we'll refactor it.
Okay. So we'll do coder.
New coder.
How about we just
Yeah,
name
you
it
can do that. You can do that.
Nick the coder? I mean,
Yeah, I like that.
Make it personal. I like that.
Yeah.
and then we'll say Nick.
Just
Now we
an
get to
email,
start
mate.
doing the data structure part and the algorithm part.
Yep. So we got to create some classes here.
All right. So now what do I do?
Let's create a data store.
Okay. Data
Can we
store.
get the IDE to do that for us?
What?
I think we have to create the class name first, and then it'll build it.
Yeah.
Oh,
If we
yeah.
do this, I mean, Camille wanted to start with the end in mind.
Well, I think that's a good way to think about what you're building for your test.
I think you're right, but
I totally agree.
we're just having fun tonight, Camille.
Here, here.
Yeah.
So we
I
got to
haven't
be a
been
little.
around for a while, so it's
Yeah, Joel's
Just
playing. the
meal
role of
night, huh?
man- Yeah, Joel's a manager tonight, I think.
The manager.
that's okay.
I like to prefer the team's senior agile leader.
Oh, God.
All
Not sure
right.
what the actual joke is here is. Can someone tell me?
Nick's leadership. All right. So Nick the coder, right? So Nick the coder, his name must be Nick. You guys all good with that?
Uh-huh.
And now what are we gonna do? Like, are we gonna Adam.
Wait a minute, I thought we had this class that you created.
Yeah,
or
hold
something?
on. Yeah, you're writing too much code.
Use that?
Let's create data store. You delete those 3 lines, man. You're getting way ahead of yourself.
All right. So create
It's
data
a little
store.
too early. Yeah.
All right.
Do we want to check that we have a data store to start with as its first test?
I mean, school of thought here. I'm okay with both. Does this red mean we have a fail?
This is a failing test. That's correct.
Does not compile equals red.
That's right.
So, Camille, would you buy that since this won't compile? We have a failing test.
Yeah, I tend to run them anyway.
Oh, we'll
But-
run them.
That's fair.
It yelled at us.
Right.
Sincerely
Fine.
broken.
Yes, okay.
Now
I
create
agree
it.
with running the test that won't compile.
Yeah,
Good call.
and that keeps people from getting too ahead in other things. So
All right.
if they'll be strict enough to run even non-compiled code, then they won't skip anything else.
Agreed. So I created the data store. I'm going to slide it
Okay,
over
we
here.
now have a data store.
All right.
Okay, that's
Now what
not
do I need to do?
anymore.
You still have a red method there.
Oh, thanks for calling out my failures.
Whatever I can do to help, man.
Well,
Let's not call it failures. Let's call it learning.
okay, so
Feedback's a gift.
It's
Oh,
public
Oh,
learning.
wait. So where's Jared from? We got someone from architecture PMO. Where's Jared from? He's the
Yeah,
new
what's
guy.
my role?
He's the new guy.
The new
I'm-
guy.
I'm the guy that just rolled in from my last project, which I was very confident about. So I'm overconfident here.
great.
I have too many opinions, and they're way too strong.
All right, so
Nice.
I'm going to click
Right.
create here because apparently Jared's paid by the word set. I'm paid by the word type.
Okay, now, Boolean, is that what we expect get coder by name to return?
I'm not the architect here,
That's a
Camille.
Now, I
Really?
think the
Coder.
way they assert that is it assumes Boolean for some reason.
Okay. Yeah, that seems more likely.
Now what?
We got to give it return null because there's nothing going on.
So that,
All right, we're compiling again anyway. Well,
Okay.
in my class, maybe.
now we might have a test that's actually failing for something closer to the right reason.
Oh,
Whoops,
we
no,
got Nick the coder's missing.
pick the coder. Okay, so
Pick
you
the
need some
coder.
data.
So I'm going to make coder.
Let's you start using constructors here. Pass in first name in the constructor. Let's get crazy.
So whoa. Now you want to add a Nick to the constructor?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, you're not
Okay,
a C#
so-
developer.
Oh yeah.
So now you're gonna have to modify that. That's not an option currently.
I'm gonna-
That's going to be really pretty once we get to about the 17th
yeah.
or 18th property that's required
Whoa,
for a coder.
whoa! You just rolled in on a new
Initiated.
project. You don't know anything about
Whoa.
the standards here.
Who is this?
I've seen this before. Let me give you a whole story.
Who is this person?
The pontificator. You're not waving your hands enough.
Oh, everything's
What?
busted. What's going on?
Yeah, you need a default constructor to keep the other tests. going.
Oh, should we allow that? Should we allow default constructors?
No, do we need to get the architecture committee ahead? Do we need to get the architectural committee out?
Yeah. I don't
Set up the
know.
meeting.
Maybe this is the wrong path. Maybe we should just do a builder, or maybe we're too far ahead.
I wouldn't
Oh,
say.
Builder sounds pretty far ahead.
Yeah, it does.
Why can't we just use the
Let's just
code
go
we
back.
already
All
have?
right, we'll go back to
Right.
Stutter.
You could
Fine.
start with a default constructor and put that in and then have this. And then we can later
Yeah,
decide to
almost
take the
there.
default constructor out if you want to do that.
How about just that? We already have the
All
code.
right, let's do it.
All right, I'm gonna run the
Right.
test and it's gonna fail.
Right.
Well, because we haven't stored anything.
Shh, don't tell how the story ends, Camille.
Come on.
Michael Wolf is now eating on camera. That's
Oh, yeah, yeah.
confidence. He must be in
So-
management.
Well, if Michael's eating, I'm gonna eat.
I
I'm
already
drinking on camera. What's that put me?
Visionary.
I pulled out a cocktail, but I
Janitorial
put it back
staff.
away.
Okay, so what did the failure say? That it got null back, which is kind of what we were thinking would,
Yeah, it got exactly what we wanted. It's just null.
okay, all right, so
Yeah.
it failed for the right
Let's-
reason.
Let's create let's create a coder inside our data store and return that.
I'm gonna add Nick the coder.
No, go into the data store, because I think we can fish out some other behavior too,
Well,
right?
the
So let's-
simplest thing we could do, right, is
Yeah.
return Nick the coder.
Yeah, let's go in the data store and return a new object with Nick as the first name.
Oh my
Mm.
goodness. Nick the coder.
Okay,
All right, now I'm gonna run the test.
It's gonna fail.
Have you no confidence in us?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, we don't have an equals method,
that's right.
so.
Yeah. our
Well, do we
equality
want
is
an equals
instance
method?
equals?
Yeah, we have to do we're gonna have to do create the assert or the equals and hash code.
No, we don't.
equals.
Let's do the simplest thing that works.
String apply it with that
No.
cascade.
What are you doing? You're going, man, look at this. He's going nuts.
I'm getting the first name of the coder, and it's saying, does it equal Nick? I don't know. What am I supposed to do here?
Well, it depends on how many steps we want to do. We could have the IDE generate equals and hash code for us.
Let's do that. That sounds entertaining. We're here to learn.
Yeah. So let's go into the coder, and IntelliJ should generate that for us. Let's see. Generate. There's an alt insert, or you can click it in the menu. There you go. Equals and hash code. Use getters during code generation. I don't like doing that, but that's personal preference, I think.
Well, are we building a singleton factory? Like, what are we ending up here?
Just click next. We'll be good. And yeah, there you go.
That's great. Click create.
All right, now let's run our test.
Yeah, I think you went too far.
I didn't write any code,
Okay, the test passed, but
and neither did
Okay.
you.
now we need a test to find something that's not Nick the coder,
Yeah.
because we've
Oh,
hard coded this.
Commit. Yep. Commit.
oh, I think that's the word they're going to use to describe
Actually, we
this
didn't
code.
persist anything. Probably our test is poorly named. Can retrieve a coder. Can retrieve Nick. How about that?
How about just can store coder?
We're not storing. We're getting.
Store.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't make a call to store.
you haven't stored anything.
Well, it
and
can
it's
get-
not just a retrieve coder, it's retrieve a specific coder.
Retrieve coder by first name.
First name,
Oh, my first name?
okay,
Then we should probably refactor this to be first name.
Well, actually, do we have it's first name on the object, right?
yeah, it's on
Yeah.
the,
So first name makes sense.
Awesome. Now I'm going to run my code.
We
have you
We good
We
to commit?
committed lately.
We haven't committed lately. That should be a shirt. So get status, get add start at start. This is a bad mojo.
what's
Uh,
that? I think you need your M in that.
I think you're right. So
yeah, for message.
Yep.
Oh, no comma.
Get push. Can someone tell me if we broke the CI server? All right.
Who's looking at the CI server?
If you've got proper CI set up, it's gonna point the Nerf gun at the person who did the commit and shoot them.
That's what happened on your last project team, Jared.
Of course.
It was
We
the
spent-
best team.
Oh,
We
you got
spent-
this job.
2 weeks setting that up. Well worth the time.
Was it the best team you've ever been a part of?
Yes. Every
You were
It's
playing
always
this
the last
character- You were playing this character like a champ. All right, what's
We need a
the
mob timer and implicate the whole group.
the trading the keyboards on Zoom is hard. That's the one thing. and we're trying to keep going quick. So what's the next test?
Yeah,
So
let's break the first
get a
one.
different coder by first name.
Yeah.
So don't get coder by first name.
No, that's not what I mean.
That's not,
It's
we
going
gotta
to
get,
Get
we're gonna
another.
have to, yeah, we have to get Camille now.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to steal this code, if you're okay
That's
with it.
fair.
And you know what? Copying, pasting tests leads to bad things. We'll risk it today. Anyone want to bet me that this test is going to fail?
Not going to bet against that.
Should we name that variable
Hard-coded
Camille the
returning
coder?
Nick.
Oh, someone wants. We can't now. We have a broken test, Scott.
Oh, okay.
Can't refactor during
We'll fix it later.
red.
Yep.
All right. So over here, we got to do something.
What's going on?
What's
How'd you break it?
because Camille told me to.
Oh, that's fair.
I told you to write a failing test.
All right. So
It worked. It failed.
All right.
Yeah,
So
that's what
here's the
you
data
do.
coder. So we're not
Do we
getting
need
Nick
it?
the coder. I know how to make this work.
Need an
No,
if
that'll make
statement
that
in
all the
our
other tests will fail.
in our equals method, right?
You laugh.
Yeah, right.
You laugh, Joel, but like that's precisely what happens when I'm teaching very new coders how to TDD. They go, "Oh, I know how to make the second test pass," and then
Mhm.
the first one fails, and I'm like, "Now we've learned something."
Yeah.
I love that when they do that.
All right. So moving on here. How do we make this one pass?
Well, I think we're gonna have to store.
Actually store something
information, yeah.
somewhere.
All right. So we got to write a test to do that.
Do we?
Do we?
We just have to write enough code to make our current test pass.
And if you do that, you will by definition have tested something to store it.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you might not want a separate little test for store, but you ought to, by its usage.
So what do
So-
we? So what's the
there
code?
has to be something, so it's not, so that code is going to, I need to actually get it. That means that the data store, the new coder actually has to do something, which it's
Yep.
not.
So can I call an audible here? Do this?
What?
I'm gonna switch back. I'm gonna switch my failing test.
Okay.
Because I like Nick the coder easier because as Scott noticed that we named this terribly. Can we do an add method? Can I do my add method yet? I really want to do my add method.
You do need to put something in the data store somewhere.
Yeah. Otherwise, the data store should be populated in its constructor, probably.
In the constructor?
Well, I mean, just the way things are right now, you could pre-populate 2 people in the constructor, and boom, you've got.
I like that.
Can we
That's
do
an
it this way?
interesting idea.
Because I know the pathway. Just humor me here so we
Yeah,
can explore data
Mhm.
structures.
I think adding something makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. New method.
Okay, and now I'm gonna hit Alt Enter and create. And if you're new, we might be going fast, so feel free to interrupt us
Okay.
and say we're going too fast. All right, so now I have coder and context. How do I want to store this, Camille?
I don't know. You're the one who has
I think I know how to. I'm
just
gonna do the.
utilize objects and store it in a flat file. You can. How are you planning to put this? You
Right
have
now, we're gonna just never
somebody
turn off
has
our
some
computer.
idea. What?
Right now, I plan not to turn off the computer.
Oh,
Are we
that's not
ruling
very
out
specific.
collections?
We'll
Oh.
get
Of
there.
our own structure.
We'll get there. We're gonna
We don't
focus
want-
on the difference between arrays and linked list.
Yeah.
Hang on. Why are we doing that? You're hard coding it again.
I'm not hard coding it.
Oh, no. So coder, this coder.
I see what you're doing. Yeah.
Okay, I guess
Okay.
I don't.
It's
but
terribly
maybe
named,
it's not clear.
It is terribly named.
but I'll be allowed to fix
Sorry.
that in a moment.
Okay, what's
think it's
terribly
perfectly
named? Maybe
named.
that's the confusion.
Nick the coder. So what we want to do now here is we want to take Nick the coder and we want to add.
We didn't get that test to pass.
Yeah, hold on. Where are we?
This is the
No.
one that's broken.
Well, yeah, but the other thing, you need to run all the tests to make sure that you haven't broken something up there.
Oh, I did break this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now you may have two broken tests. Do you?
No,
Or
I just have the one.
Just
All right,
have
which
the
test
one.
is, okay. So don't refactor another test.
Yeah, because I haven't fixed the get method.
Okay. Now we can work on the get method. At least we think we're actually storing something. Not sure we are.
Yep. So I'm looking for the get method, and it should be in data store, and I'm not seeing it. Oh, it's right here. So now the key here is, now that we see this
You can
code
return
here.
coder. Just return coder.
Yep. I'm going to return coder, which is a member of this data structure. And now my other test will pass. And Camille, I'm sorry, but now you're broken.
Yeah,
Do
now we
ap-
need to
Do
fix that
apologize.
because we still have stuff that's hard coded.
Yep. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this code, which is identical to this code.
Hmm.
I'm going to pull it down here.
Extracted.
Yep. And then I'm going to type in Camille.
Okay.
And then I'm going to run all my tests, and I know my test will probably pass. What do you guys think?
Wait a moment.
Yep.
What did you just do? That was a little fast.
Yeah, just switch to one window. Don't split them. It's getting hard to follow.
Okay. So let's see. What do we have here? First test is,
Lines 56 and 57 were
why do we
copied.
have that in twice?
It was off screen. You didn't see it. That's why.
Yeah. I have really big font here. I can see like 12 lines of code. So Camille, we have, so let me rename this so it's easier for you to follow.
Yeah, so it's not Nick the coder. It's whatever.
It's Camille the coder.
I'm gonna miss Nick the coder.
Well, he's in architecture now.
And henceforth, never useful again.
Okay.
Hey, I'm an architect.
Me too.
All right.
Means
Me
I'm
too,
not
Nathan.
useful. That's why I'm not useful in coding.
All right. We got this big question mark. What's the big question mark about? I mean, the light bulb.
The big light bulb is just probably telling me it's a terrible name.
Oh, well.
Okay.
How did it know?
We told him that too, so.
So
all right.
so what we're doing now is we're getting Camille, we're adding Camille, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And we're good. We have 2 passing tests.
Can we look at the code and see if we're actually just want to look at the code?
I've been on
itself?
Twitter
Okay.
and they say code review is a waste of time. We should be pair
No,
programming this.
I just want to understand that we're
Yeah,
not.
you're not letting your pair. You should
Is it the
close.
public Twitter or the private Twitter?
It's
close
all of
that
the Twitters.
second window.
Elon's put a new policy in place, by the way.
No pull requests?
He says
Yes.
He says architecture gets to decide.
Oh, nice.
Hang on.
Finally,
There's
Jared and I
stuff
can
that's
do
hard
something.
coded in there.
That's right.
That doesn't look good. That's
Yeah.
what I thought we might have.
Yeah, that's just dead code.
Oh, okay.
Refactor. Run it. Run the tests.
I'm running all the tests. All right. So,
Hashtag no regression.
all right, we ran full regression. QA manager just signed off.
4 days later.
So Camille, what we're literally doing is we're storing an object and getting it back. We wrote a fancy getter and setter.
Yeah.
So let's rename and refactor and do a commit, and then we'll do the data structure
You
portion
should
of this.
probably,
But if we're actually storing it in an in-memory database or something, then we might actually be doing something.
We're storing it in the class member, and as
Oh.
long as the class is alive, we'll pretend that's our data store for now.
first name,
Okay.
Oh,
first name.
That's a
there's a reason. We'll get there.
okay.
All right. So let's run our.
Won't need to find it by the time we get there.
I
Yeah.
know
How
I
does
can
it
get
know
there.
which one that is? Or we only have one thing that's stored at a time.
We only have one thing stored at a time.
That's what's going on. So
The
that's,
tricky thing is yeah, we
that's
don't
not
have
right.
more than one object.
yeah, so that's gonna pass for the wrong reasons.
Yep, we can
Is
only
there
have
a
one coder.
requirement
and
that
can't
says we
coder.
need more than one object?
Yes.
So let's in our test we can refactor and set up data store to
About
be
a
created.
singleton database. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
We only have
Where's
2K
the
of memory.
requirement?
Let's move our, let's set up data store in our, before the test and insert 2 coders or insert 2 in each test.
So what we do is, what if we just take this Camille the coder, and let's go get our friend Nick the coder. Surprised he hasn't made us rename it Nick the architect, which doesn't have a base class of coder.
Okay.
Let's add Nick the coder to our data store. Do you want to take a bet here? Think this will pass?
After adding him twice,
If you're getting the same thing, the only one back,
It will fail.
It'll fail.
We'll fail it.
definitely fail.
yeah, because you're adding Nick second.
So how do we make this pass without?
You're also adding Nick third.
Yeah,
Oh,
is that deliberate?
no, that's a side effect.
That's called.
That was
fat
it.
fingers?
That was an error in the UX documentation. That's
That was
why.
the architect's problem.
I see.
I think it was UX.
All right, so now that we have a data store, we have 2 coders. We need to keep 2 coders in memory. And
Yeah.
Camille, we're working on learning how to do basic data structure. So what's a basic data structure?
Oh, well, you can do anything from an array to a linked list. What do you want to do?
Well, what would be the simplest one? What's the first one you started with, Camille?
The first one I ever used was an array.
So let's do that.
Let's do an array.
Okay.
Now, is this going to be a mutable or an immutable, or how are we doing
What do
that?
those words mean?
Can we increase the size of it or not?
Well, it's an array.
Well, arrays usually you can't, but there are being
Right.
things like that. Lists, for instance, which are kind of like.
So we would have to grab a certain chunk of memory within our array.
Remember, my first language was Fortran. You know, there weren't a lot of sophisticated data structures. If you wanted them, you had to write your own.
So let's start with array.
Okay.
And let's code it out. So if we're gonna add, if we're gonna add a coder to this array, the first thing we would do is, when you have an array is basically of keeping a set of coders in a line.
Right.
So remember in kindergarten when you line up at the door?
Except in kindergarten, we started with
I was
1.
never good
Here
at-
we have to start with 0.
Correct. And so in most languages except Visual Basic, we start with index of 0. And
Oh,
that-
Pascal too starts at 1.
Pascal.
Oh, sorry, Pascal. So for languages people get paid to use these days, we usually start at 0.
That's true.
And the idea when you look at an array is, if you have a set of kindergartners, if you have 100 kindergartners, but you only have space for 10 in a line, what's the max you can store at a time? Right, that's a terrible example. What's a better example?
I'm confused.
Are you
Write some
saying,
code, Joe.
Okay. So what we're doing right now is we're storing coder in an array.
so,
Red squiggly.
yeah,
Hang on, let me run all this.
Red squiggly.
Oh.
It's on that one.
Yep. I got it. Thanks for the red squiggly. So-
now we haven't done anything at looking at what the first name is. You've got the same problem you had before.
Mhm. We're still
Oh.
inserting in on the same spot.
They're putting it in the same spot.
So what-
Actually,
Yep, that's not gonna do you any good yet. You gotta
Yeah,
write
it's not
code.
gonna do
in
any
the same
good.
spot.
what do I need to do?
So one thing we could do is just keep a reference to our current available index.
some sort of index.
So yeah,
Mind
say
you,
like,
Well, the length kind of gives us a hint, right? Anytime we add, the new index should be equal to the length.
Oh, let's use something we
that's
like to call a pointer.
yep.
Oh, boy.
So we would be pointing at index 0.
Mm-hmm.
We can't use the size because the array is a fixed size until we expand it.
Yeah, it'll always be 2.
Mm-hmm.
Pointer is confusing. How about index?
Okay.
Yeah, index pointer. It's not a pointer.
Let's make everyone confused.
Your pluses have to go before the index.
Does it?
And-
Yes,
I wanted to increment it afterwards.
you want to
No,
increment
sorry.
or, no, I think you're,
This is bad
Yeah.
code. I
That's
should
right.
never do this.
yeah, you shouldn't do that. You should do it after. Yes, there you go.
Okay. So now rerun it again. And every time the code gets added, every time a coder gets added, we add an index. And to prove that, let's use our friend the debugger. Now there are people out there that claim that you don't have to use the debugger.
I was thinking of writing a test.
Oh, I was just going to show them in memory
Okay.
so we can look at this. Okay, so we're here right now. If we click on coder, it should have 2 slots open, but all elements are null.
Okay.
You can expand it down at the bottom too.
So you can expand, see everything's coder is,
Stack
Mhm.
coder.
yep.
Okay.
So we need to rename this. But so the next thing we're going to do is step over.
Coders.
All right. So now, oh, we're out of content scope. When we come back through with and add Nick to the list,
Mhm.
coder has Camille in the first one. Thank you, Camille, for being in the first slot.
Oh, boy.
And we're going to add Nick to the next slot, right?
That's what it looks like it says.
So we know, oh, look, Nick is in the second slot.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. We just use an array because it's consecutive memory of the
Mhm.
same type
Okay.
all the way through. So let's just finish out a debugger and resume program. Okay. So we stored two
that red-
coders.
Not a breakpoint. Is that what that is?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it off. Okay, so how do we make sure that this is the right? How do we make this test pass though? Because we still have
Are all the tests passing?
we still have a failing
Yeah.
test.
Writing all
Fire 'em
running
all.
all the tests right
Run
now.
all the tests and find out what fails and why.
All the tests are passing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because the other test doesn't challenge the,
It's
So
it's
what-
incidental. We add the person in the first order, and then our fetch always gets the first person out of there. If you rearrange Camille and Nick, we'll fail it.
actually what we could do is create a parameterized test.
Whoa!
Okay.
Let's just keep
We-
it simple. I like Jared's idea. I
Well,
copied
it is going to do exactly what Jared said, but we can run the same test with different parameters.
Okay.
we'll get
so
there.
now it failed.
Yep.
I love parameterized tests.
And
See,
now we need to actually
Jared's
go
an architect. like me.
look for, Camille or Nick or whatever name is passed and grab that one as opposed to something else.
So let's not use streams because let's focus on
They're too
iteration.
efficient.
Let's
Yeah,
not,
they're too efficient.
Let's not use a stream.
Let's loop because
Yep.
this will be the basics for everyone.
So
Has anyone
coder.
anyone been on the team that says, or someone says, let's not use streams because the juniors won't understand?
Oh
Um,
no.
As the architect here, I'm a little bit concerned about the
It's,
efficiency of this algorithm.
Hey, we look forward to your PowerPoint at our next lunch and learn.
Alright.
you need to do less than length or less than and equal to length -1.
And then if coder of I, You-
You want, not the coder value, you want their name. Get
Yep,
name,
first name.
get first name
Dot equals.
equals first name. Okay.
early exit.
Early
Yep.
exit. Pull the chute.
Coder.
Okay.
Now
Helps return the first coder.
that,
No.
and otherwise return null. You want it to return something or other that says.
Yeah.
We don't have a test for that.
We don't have a test for that. Let's leave it.
Let's do it. Then we can all debate if we return null or throw an exception.
Yeah, one or the other.
I'd like throw exception. It's easier.
Null object. I want a null object.
Null object. There you go.
All right, so that code works. Let's let's not production ready because we know we have a defect in here. So let's go fix that defect really quick, and then we'll commit it.
Well, we have passing test, right?
Yes.
So let's commit and then refactor or write a new
yeah.
test.
Yeah, can we please rename that array?
Thanks for upholding policy there, Nick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Sorry, I got out of role. I got out of character. Back to the artist.
Hey, guys, you're
Beautiful.
going a little bit fast for my old eyes. Did you
Uh-huh.
actually write a commit message? And did you, after committing it, did you push it?
No, I reverted because I was renaming.
Oh,
Someone made a architecture stepped in at the last moment and didn't sign off.
well. So what are we renaming and why?
I renamed coder to coders because it's a data store.
Oh, because it's,
'Cause there's more than one.
because there's more than one. All righty. Fine.
And then I'm going to say this
I don't think that's according to style guide.
coder index.
Okay, that's a better name.
HR just released a new coding, a coding standard.
Given
naming
name.
convention.
Yeah, there we go.
Improved
Could it be
names. are a good
next
thing.
available index or last used index?
We could make a better name for I too.
Why? IJK flip flops are great, right, Michael Wolf?
I started on Fortran too. Anything that starts with I through N is an integer.
Yep, that was my first language.
Anything I through N's an integer. Not sure if I was mute.
All right. Is that good?
Current index encoder. Yeah, I like that. You see, what that's readable and actually tells you what we're trying to do.
Mhm.
I got a
Much
compliment.
better than I.
An hour into this and I got a compliment.
Mhm.
That's really why you do it.
I do it for the accolades.
This
He
is what
does
we
it for
play.
the one
Now are
compliment.
we ready to commit?
He's an operator.
No,
what
I
we
ran the
play.
test. Now I'm ready to commit.
Okay, you ran the test. Now we're ready to commit.
This is the worst code interview ever for a job that doesn't pay.
We'll do, yeah, add everything.
Store no more than 2 coders.
Okay.
Git push.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. So now, array is cool.
Parameterize our test.
Okay. How do I do that?
All right, so up there after test, I'm gonna kind of guess here, but rather than test, call it parameterized test. I think
Yeah, it's
that's
been
what,
a while since I've done this
there you go.
Spring Boot.
And then after, and then nope, no parens. I think it's variables. Hold on. Try, yeah, value source is the name of it. So next line. Where are you going? There you are. Value source, capital V. No, it's a at.
I started with an at.
It's an annotation. There you go. And then
Okay.
parens.
Annotation.
Yep. And now you can pass in Nick, Camille, and then do string first name in the test. Oh, it doesn't like that.
No, I'm looking it up.
So,
Oh, we gotta define. I think we have to define it in there. So first parameter in the parentheses, it's
It's
strings.
this.
You could do strings equal and then make it a collection.
Yeah, I
So
pulled
we
up the
call them
documentation.
squiggly. Yep.
List.
You're
Yeah.
supposed to be coding, not reading docs. There you
Well,
go.
you're not very good at descripting.
I don't. I resemble that.
So-
Top Gun's coming out. And there's a
Hey,
reason why Goose
No
isn't in there.
anti-compliments.
for the uninformed over
I
here,
resemble that.
because my devs are not using Spring Boot, is the parameterized test and value source something unique for Spring Boot, or is it just something I haven't noticed in JUnit?
It's JUnit.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
data.
Okay.
Yeah, JUnit Jupyter.
All right. I'm not sure which, I'd have to go look and see which version I'm using.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
JUnit 5, I think they
It's
introduced. it.
5. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they
so
stole it from C
fine.
Sharp.
So then, yeah, you can make that first name the parameter name because that's exactly what it's supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
online.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Man, shrink delete slide those other tabs into
I'm
this.
trying to. I'm trying to.
Come on.
I
clean
still
up
don't
your-
know how this is gonna work, but I'm humoring you.
All right, there you go. Now scroll down to the actual task down at the bottom, right there on line
Uh-huh.
75. Line 75, replace.
Oh, I
Camille
see what you're
with
doing.
Canton. There you
I
go.
see what you did. Now let's run our test. So now it'll run this test for each one.
Yes. Now, here's my question for you. Oops, one failed. Let's look at the failure message itself. Does it tell us enough information with this parameterized
Yeah,
test?
you expand this, like drag it up, make the window
Yeah.
bigger.
Because one of the things you're not doing here is you're not putting any messages in with your assert.
Right.
Oh,
So
what
expand.
is it telling? That's not telling me a whole, what is this telling me?
I know what's in these memory references.
I don't.
If we need to put a toString on our object, then we'll be able to see. But expand in your test tree. If you go to your test tree and expand, get different coder by name.
It's not finding Nick.
Weird.
And well, the assert is looking for the same thing in both cases too, right? And the is equal to.
So have we really added value by parameterizing this test, or we made things actually harder to understand?
That is the thing I wanted to ask Nate so politely, and I didn't know how. Congratulations.
Oh,
Tina.
I'm fine on being rude.
I think it's just curious.
There's some schools of thought about duplication. And at least in my point of view, in the tests, it's more important to be clear than to not have duplication. In your code, you normally don't have to worry about that trade-off, but sometimes in your tests you do.
I
I actually agree with that.
So I wouldn't parameterize this.
Yeah, I'm looking to see why it failed though.
Yeah, the thing
That's
is,
what I'm more curious about.
If you look at the test, it's looking for the same object in both test runs.
Is it
Camille
really?
the coder, right?
There you go, line 75.
Oh.
So we could create an expected coder object that takes in the first name
This
from
is
the parameter.
yeah. I
and
think
then
this
check for
is.
the
I think
expected
this is
parameter.
the parameterized test fail us on this. It's gonna add
Yeah.
it more complicated.
So you could do.
Yeah,
It
you
could
would need
be.
a
You could
complex
say-
structure.
You could say, yeah, this is going to add more complication than we want.
well, you could, so you can use a feature of Git and go back to earlier versions of your code since you've
I
started.
also have this button, the delete key.
Keep
Yeah.
going.
It'll actually have Control Z.
So a different, if we don't want to go that route, a different refactoring is, we need to clean up the tests because they're getting kind of
Control
bulky.
Z.
Yeah, so let's get back onto the data structure stuff because I think we're kind of focusing too much on the clean code stuff. Is that okay?
All right, let's do it.
Too
Point,
much
Camille.
clean code. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, that's we're learning data structures algorithms here. I want to get to linked list really quick.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just buckle down and keep moving here. So
Well, we refactor what we have into a linked list.
yes, but I
Or
wanted to
Just use the list.
to
Java.
try something here. So just a second.
What you have in mind?
All right, so I got Camille and I got Nick, and I store them in a database. Okay?
Gotcha. Well, you store them into something. Mm-hmm.
Store them into data store. So the next thing is what are array lists good for? They're really fast. They're cool. Joel, the coder, right? But they're not dynamically allocated. As in, once I create them, I can't change them in most languages. So if I add the third coder here, I'm going to get a nasty exception.
There's no way, for instance, we can add email now.
Yeah, adding Joel twice as well.
I'm adding Joel. That's fine. That'll throw me a better error. So I hit this thing called index2 out of bounds for link
Right,
2.
because we were using a
Yep.
fixed length array.
So now we get to play with that.
Now we have a broken test where we get to play with this. So how do we make this work? Let me pull up the data code.
By the way, I would have, this is maybe my style, but I would have those as different tests.
They're the test for the same thing here though. So let's get to the data structure part of this. Open declaration. Why can't I just hit F10 and do this? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, I'm on the different keyboard, so I got to hit function, F10. And then, oh, what is go to in IntelliJ these days? That's not it.
Find.
Should be go to declaration or usages. Okay.
Okay.
So when we go here, we have this thing called a coder, right?
Mhm.
And so the next thing we want to do is we want to build a linked list, which is a more dynamic way of storing things. Now there's
Right.
some. What was that, Camille?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So the next thing we want to do is figure out how do we store data here the simplest way. And if we're going to test drive this out, imagine if we had a pointer that pointed to where the next data record was. Will you buy that from me on a test driving standpoint?
Well, we could. On the other hand, we could just create a list. And I mean, that would be the smallest steps.
But we're trying to do data structures without using the library functions.
Oh, okay.
So what
Sorry, because I was going to, you know,
think undergrad computer science and what we started
gotcha.
with.
Okay, back in those days.
So we'll create a pointer record.
So no puts.
No puts. We'll drive ourselves to that. So we'll create a record that keeps track of who the next person is in line. And the way we'll do that is we'll create a public. And I don't think I'm breaking any rules doing this, am I?
I don't know. What are we doing yet?
I'm adding a next coder. Oh, sorry. I'm moving too fast, talking out loud. I just need the code.
Now, do you need a method, or are we just looking at? Yeah, I was thinking that that's probably just an attribute, isn't it?
What's driving your?
What are you thinking here?
Yeah,
what I'm
what's driving
thinking right here is I'm going to generate a getter and setter.
Do we need to generate a getter and setter?
You do for the next coder.
But do we want coder to be linked, or do we want another object to link the coders together?
I'm going back to undergrad and the first thing I did.
Okay, so
I'm not going to build a container.
All right.
Okay. I was planning to build a container.
Well, why do you have architects?
Undergrad. I mean, if you're talking undergrad, you're talking about writing a container from scratch.
We're just going to daisy chain my struct together with a pointer to the next struct.
Okay.
Okay.
And
So
coders
hang
have
on,
to know
humor
other
me here.
coders.
That means that we probably want to, if we're daisy chaining it, then that means coder itself needs some sort of a pointer to the depending whether we're going to be able to go forward or backwards in this data chain. You know, whether you wanted a doubly linked list or a singly linked list.
But we're test driving it, Camille. Do we have a need to go backwards?
Probably not right now. But that does mean that we're going to need to have somewhere in coder itself a next. And
Yep.
you're going to need something, and the really standard one is you're going to need a head, which is going to point to the first one.
Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do when we test drive this, all right, is now we have set next coder. Wait, forgive me on that. Forgive me, Java, for I've sinned against your camel case. So now what we're going to do.
I mean, it's been many decades.
Yep. it's yeah. The libraries make it simple, but this is the interview stuff people go through, and on the whiteboard want to do the simplest thing that could possibly
isn't
work.
that too bad?
Yep.
Isn't that a waste of time?
Actually, Michael,
That's kind of what I think, but
it's not, because if you don't understand the basics on how the computer works, then how do you understand the complexities of how the computer
Okay,
works?
lay out a PNP junction and tell me how a flip-flop works.
I can actually do that, Michael Wolf, and I
Tell me about your doping levels.
oh,
Come on.
So
I did it, but
I built a computer once, and back when one did that from circuits, and it didn't work, and my boyfriend and I took the board down to NASA and discovered that the PNP was actually an NPN, And that's why everything was showing up backwards.
Wait,
we
I'm going to
picked up-
repeat what that happened. Back in college, your computer you built, not like a gaming computer,
No, a board.
a board, and
We're
it
talking
didn't
about a
work. So you just drove down to NASA and said,
He
my
worked at
computer
NASA.
guys.
doesn't work. And I'm
Anything
like,
else
"Can
in
it
spare time?
fix, please?"
Knock on the door. Hey,
Is a rocket scientist in the house?
He
Question
was
was
an
it?
electrical engineer, we got the oscilloscope out. And we went, oh, that's the wrong waveform.
We're gonna clip that and put that on YouTube
Really?
forever.
Yep. That's our advertisement.
Yes, in fact, I am a rocket scientist. I've seen some folks.
We went
doing
down to
No,
that.
NASA. We knocked on
I'm
the
not,
door.
Paul was. Paul, no, literally, yes, Paul was a rocket scientist. I was the,
Nice.
Hey, Ansia. I didn't know you were here.
So Insia, what we're gonna
not
do
founding
here.
rockets specifically.
So we're gonna add, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna leave this code here as a comment so we can look at the comparisons. And so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get that thing Camille called, which is called a pointer or a head.
Yeah, head is the more standard name.
Yeah, head is the standard name.
So let's call it head.
Head index.
Head.
Head, yeah.
Head
Yep.
index.
If you're chaining these, why do you need your array?
Head idea.
I don't need my array. I'm just leaving it there for.
Okay.
We're gonna get rid of the array.
We're gonna get rid of that. I'm trying to explain a basic
hysterical
place to
purposes.
Insia.
Yeah.
So
President.
remember, Insia, chime in here.
Tax write-off.
Not everyone here is, used to this. So head, right? We're gonna assign that to coder. Given that we have these tests, now you fell into my trap for those that teach this professionally. Now we have a set of tests that are gonna break.
Mm-hmm.
So we can rederive this. Oh, my test broke. All my tests broke.
Yeah.
And why did all my
Trashing.
tests broke? Because we're back to we just have one spot to store this.
Right. We need
Yep.
to fix that.
So
So
we got to see if head has been assigned.
we're gonna go and said if the head equals null, assign coder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
Else, right? This dot head dot next
Set next.
that next coder as coder. And guess what? I think
Right.
That's not
Now.
going to fix all of them.
Did we have a set next coder
Yep.
method?
Yep.
Where did that? Oh, there it is.
But all my tests are failing because I'm looping through my array. So I'm gonna
So
comment.
now we need to stop looping through the array.
Yep. And so what we need to do is the first thing is just see if head dot first name get first name equals first name, correct?
Yep. You can do
Uh,
that.
And then
Return that.
there's the head. That
Else
might fix
return
one of
them.
my tests.
yeah, that'll fix one of them.
Uh-oh, I have a
Well,
web.
the thing is, you combined all your tests together. Remember,
Yeah.
You can
have
do that back,
separate
didn't you?
tests, and then in my view, you made life more complicated by combining a bunch of things. Okay.
Yeah. I did make it a little more complicated, but we're
Mhm.
still focusing on
That's
building
just
up.
how he rolls.
I
Well,
know.
Hey, thank you.
I'm not trying to do perfect test-driven development.
Thank you for the feedback.
I'm trying to get to the point where we have working tested software. We got to ship to make money here tonight.
Oh,
Why is this not compiling?
Joe always brings it back to money. Good job.
Well, the main reason most of us write code is
I like code,
pays me well.
I like to eat.
but yeah, it does help with
His
pay.
daughter likes to eat.
Okay. So just going to get to the point to the project still running.
Oh.
Okay.
Is it a software business or a software practice? You're treading that line.
All right. So now my tests fail. And my tests fail because I'm getting null, because I'm not getting what I need. And so as I iterate through this list, I go, if the head
Okay.
that first name equals this, do this.
And then now we need to loop through the rest of them.
If you
Mhm.
if you drop a two-string in your object, we can look at the asserts and see where it's failing.
Well, that's just no fun.
Yeah, but it might help people who are trying to follow along what you're doing.
That's fine. Will it help you?
There's not much that can help me, so let's just worry about others right now. And you can have IntelliJ generate this too, by the way.
I forgot about that. By the way, this is fun, even though I'm dealing with Nate.
Oh, you
There it
have to
goes.
drop next. You want to drop next coder? Well,
No, no, this will work.
you realize if next coder is calling toString, it's going to recurse.
Yeah. What you're really going to need, you're not there yet,
Yeah, drop that line. Yeah, so we don't get recursive.
All right, hang on.
but
Okay,
is,
let's run that. Let's see what we got.
So I got to get to a point where it actually builds. Where are my tests?
The little run
There you
thing
go.
at the bottom.
Yeah, it's not picking. There it goes. It's hard to code on one screen. That's all I have to say. All right, so now my test is expecting Camille,
So
but was null.
mm-hmm.
And so now when we go into our database, if we go this dot head equals coder. Oh, sorry. We want to get
What you need is you need something that walks you through the whole structure.
Yep, that's what we're working to.
If only there was a loop that could do that.
No.
A recursion.
Or just a while.
Yeah, whiles are fine.
All right, so that's fine with me. So what if we did, oh no, is this a data structure now?
And
Coder equals this dot head, right?
Right.
Well, coder dot get next coder not null.
Mm-hmm.
If coder dot first name equals first name, what do?
Well, we return something.
Return it.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. And now,
Coder equals
Uh,
coder dot get next coder.
that's going to fail one of your tests, but
wait a moment. There's
You need
will
to do
always-
while, don't we?
it will
Yeah.
always
Prove it.
fail if you have only one. If you only have one object in your chain, it's going to fail.
Hmm.
Yeah, where it's jumping straight to the next coder.
There you go. But now you'll always return. Yeah, just run it. We'll figure it out.
We'll run it.
You made a mess of it.
Too
That's
many
all
cooks
right.
in the
We have
kitchen.
tests. We have tests. to
This is
figure
the
this out.
longest it's taken me to write a linked list since undergrad.
We're all contributing to it, I'm sure.
So you get the job that pays nothing. Good for you.
Mm-hmm. So what we need to do at this point is return null.
yeah. Yeah, because if we don't find anything, we want to return null so that things fail for the right reasons.
So this first test was if the first name is Nick and the last name is email, the first name is, but was null. So why aren't we finding Nick?
Now,
Where is Nick in the insert? Where is it in the chain?
Well, Nick is the only person here.
Oh,
We're
skip
skipping
the
right over
first.
the head and starting to ask about the next coder.
so
and the
So flip
17,
the
17
Wild.
says because Nick doesn't have a next coder. That's why.
Oh,
Let's do while.
do
while,
wow.
yeah.
This is the most beautiful thing.
There you go.
And we could just do coder does not equal wall.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now,
You could also, if you did coder not equal to null, then you could put the while back at the top.
well, let's get this last test to pass, and then we can probably call it a night because we got this code to work. So, Camille, for some reason, we can't find you anymore. Where did you go?
Is
It's a
Camille the
mystery.
first insert?
Camille's the last person in line. So what happened?
I thought I was the first.
It was
Oh,
the
you're right.
first.
I
Go
was
back and
11.
look at your test.
So
So-
let's see. Oh, okay.
So
So I'm, no,
Camille's-
I'm actually the first one.
Mhm.
Then it's
No.
Nick, and then it's Joel.
We add Camille second. Look at line 69.
Yeah.
Oh, nice call. Yep. That's why you need an architect.
Oh, you're right.
So why is Camille not working? I don't know. Let's just debug.
Oh, right there. Dot equals.
Oh, we're checking for wrong language.
Oh,
What does double equals do in Java that it
Looks
doesn't
at the
do in C
memory
Sharp?
reference.
It compares the object reference.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's faster. It's more
Interesting.
efficient. Architects prefer it. 9 out of 10 architects polled give a PowerPoint. Oh, that test failed,
Ah,
but was null.
I think it might have to do with adding. How did we
yeah.
Let's
did
go
we
see how we're
add
adding.
gracefully?
Let's
Nope.
go see how we're adding.
Good catch, Jared.
Well, I figured we'd get back to it, but you kept running the code, so I thought I'd tell you.
Yeah, no, this is.
So we're constantly overriding the next coder. We're not stepping through our
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
chain to see where we.
So we need something like this: coder equals this dot head, right? And then we need.
Or you can keep a reference to the last coder. In the
Yeah,
chain.
you want to keep a reference to the last one because otherwise you're just
But
reading.
if I'm learning this and I'm watching that, do we want to jump to the end state or do we want to merge it?
So it's less code means we can sign off sooner if you
Okay.
keep a reference to the last coder.
But this is more fun. We don't have to sign off sooner. We can just do the do while loop. It's the same code,
It's the same code.
and people
But if
can
I
learn.
think back to comp sci algorithms,
All right.
technically we would have to use a loop on the add as well, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah. For
do
a singular linked list.
so. Actually, what we need to do is just let's
We
just
can
do-
just while through to the end.
why don't
Yep.
we just do the right thing, which
Yeah.
is private coder
Get last coder.
get last coder,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And then, and so we can do coder equals this dot head.
Yep.
Well, coder dot next get next coder doesn't equals null, right?
Next. Yep. Coder equals next. Get next coder.
Coder equals coder dot get next coder. Return coder,
Yep.
and then we'll get the last
all-
coder, and we'll do our add. That set coder next coder to coder.
Yep. You're gonna have to check for. when
Yeah, you
get
gotta
coder,
watch out for the first null.
the first null. So you're gonna have to say on line 27, get last coder. If that's null, then I have to assign header to a new coder. There you go.
Okay, so we're gonna null reference it, and then else.
You don't need the else.
Yeah, I do.
You can do a return.
An early return.
I know, it's
Professor
crazy.
Kaminsky would not pass data structures and algorithms with you.
No,
No.
or would that just be Java?
There we go. So we made a linked list, basic linked list in data array in TDD with a lot of cooks in the kitchen. I hope
A lot of cooks.
hope the new people learned. If not, we'll redo this. Insia, did you just give up?
Give up on what?
Did you follow what we were doing?
Yeah. Well, I joined in the middle, but makes sense.
The-
I joined when it was arrays were starting. So yeah.
We want to apologize. The main thing with this is, let me walk through the code, is, okay, when we have a linked list, what we're doing is we're taking a chunk of memory whenever it's free in that space, and we can allocate and store things with it. And we can always dynamically resize. With an array, we're saying we want this many slots this amount of memory, and we have to be able to allocate it at once. And once it's allocated, we don't get any more of it. And this is basic data structures and algorithms with TDD and how to drive to them. But yeah, any questions on this? Scott, do you understand how to do this from your computer science undergrad?
Yeah, well, it was a long time ago.
How do you?
And I'm glad we had Spring Boot around to make this really easy too, by the way.
Any closing remarks, Camille? You've probably been doing this long enough. Like, what's the key thing about data structures?
Well, I haven't been writing data structures in decades and decades and decades because I just use what's out there.
Yeah.
But if people are going to interviews where
I do prefer the C# ones to the Java ones because there's more flexibility in some of them. Although my all-time favorite is Ruby. But if I'm going to, well, I don't go to interviews so much as I used to conduct them. And I would be more likely to get someone a kata that they didn't know rather than asking them to write a linked list. Because that's, from my point of view, the TDD part is what they should be teaching in college and don't.
Mm-hmm.
And how to write a data structure, that maybe you could do that in grad school, because not everybody needs to know that, but everybody needs to know how to write tests.
I agree with that sentiment.
But Camille, there are interviews out there that pay a lot of money that will have you invert a binary tree or do this on the board, and we're trying to help people get good at that so they can go retire, as James said, rich.
Okay.
Now,
have you asserted that? You've really got recent interviewers that are saying that they're taking those kinds of interviews?
Yes, the whole reason we're doing this series, because data structures and algorithms, as much as clean code craftspeople, which also exists in coders, are they're very opinionated about the test, but there are interviews out there that will ask you to invert a binary tree, and that will get you a payout of nearly $300,000. So people want to learn how to invert a binary tree.
Really?
Yes.
You're
Netflix will pay
basis, or you're talking about the difference in a lifetime, or what?
No, a year.
Oh, well, okay. So are those folks writing operating system code? I mean, there's some things for which this is very relevant.
This is part of the interview process for most FANG companies.
Okay.
So
how many do you have? A couple data points there?
Yes.
Or just that one that floated by?
No, I know multiple data points on this.
Okay.
Inverting binary. Incia just did a data structures and algorithm class, didn't you, Incia? Yeah. The inverting and doing this stuff is common in interviews.
Now,
let me ask, did you do basic data structures, or did you pull in libraries that help implement this and build the next level up?
They want to do it on whiteboards.
Incia?
Oh, on whiteboards with code, or on whiteboards we're drawing boxes on how these things connect to each other?
Either or.
Okay, because understanding conceptually on what the difference between a linked list is and a ring and a tree and that sort of thing is something that I think is useful for everybody, because it helps you decide which structure you want to use, which kind of collection class is appropriate. But I'm not sure that for most development, it's essential. Now, I have seen places that wanted you to be able to do all sorts of routing algorithms and so on. But on the other hand, it was a company that was writing networking software.
Mm-hmm.
So for that application, it was very relevant. Kind of depends on what the company is building.
This is
Who's,
more
who's
targeted.
interviewed lately that could give some more data here?
I don't think we would want to admit to anyone interviewing. That's really unsafe for people
Okay,
that are
good point.
currently employed.
Admit
Good
what?
point.
Yeah. So Michael, I'd ask you, we're going to wrap it up here. I mean, this is something where be honest, right? There is a strong, and I love the code craftsmanship, clean code, TDD, mantra, and Canton coders. But there's also a group of people that do this to support their family, and we're trying to create the learning opportunity. And I'm not saying that we're stifling it
I
here,
get it.
where the data structures come out, right? We can drive them on code, right? Because the scariest thing when you do a data structures algorithm interview is not being able to rederive it. And if
Okay,
we can,
so yeah, it doesn't matter if I think they're stupid. If that's really what's happening, that's a good
Yeah, I mean, if
point.
this is what people are
Yeah.
actually asking for
Okay.
in interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're here to support developers getting good jobs.
In theory
The
and practice.
dilemma is you are often faced with unskilled interviewers asking bad questions in
Oh,
order
yeah.
to get into a good company.
I get it.
Yeah. Gotcha questions, right?
but then again, there is a lot of people that have a different access to computer programming now than ever been before. So a lot of companies are validating that the concrete things like OS theory, data structures, that knowledge exists.
Oh, okay.
Before you bring in a one-dimensional developer with one small skill set of VBA and Excel.
Well, like people know what paging is and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. There's
Although
a lot
more
of
commonly it'd be like, I can do React and that's it.
Oh, well, yes. Yeah, and particularly when you're dealing with JavaScript developers, people that are doing UI, at least this is my experience. I find that many of them have a much smaller skill set
and
than people doing back-end development as far as their general knowledge is concerned.
this is why we're doing
And
this.
they also don't know how to test.
And this is why we're
Right.
doing this series, so we can help people that maybe went to a boot camp,
So-
made a significant investment, and they want to advance their career, and we're going to give them that opportunity.
Okay.
That's great, Joel. What's next?
Oh, great
Lead us
question.
the next one as we close it out.
So the thing we want to do to close it out is the next one we want to do is we want to build upon this, and we're going to talk about hashes, everyone's favorite thing.
Okay.
And we're going to build some hash algorithms to make sure that emails are unique. And look at Michael Wolf is the MC of the night. So I'm